So, alright, guys, I'll be sharing my screen right now so that we can see what we've got here. Alright, I hope we can see my screen right. Okay, thank you very much. So, first of all, I have to zoom in a little bit. Okay. So, this was what we ran yesterday. Okay, which this was the code which we were actually accessing this function. All right, and this was where we accessed it. Here, we imported the function and then made the inference to the AI. So today, what we are going to be doing is we're going to be building an endpoint. Just like I explained earlier at the beginning of the plan, endpoint is just a gateway to give. We are going to push this code to the cloud. Nobody can access the cloud to go and use this. So we need an endpoint that will give this someone a gateway to the cloud. So let's see how we are going to get it. The easiest platform we can actually use is FastAPI. So I'm going to create a new file here. I will name it main.py. All right, so this is main.py. So this so you need to add some extra installation to what we had before. So I know that when we started yesterday class, I told us some installations we need to do. So you need to also install these packages. You need to install FastAPI. You need to install Pydantic. So we'll also be using Pydantic. I don't think that is, and you need to install UVCon. If you don't have UVCon, you need to install UVCon. So UVCon is just like a little server that we are going to be using to run our back end. So when we are done, so these are the few installations you need to do. So first of all, let's import FastAPI. So from FastAPI, I will import FastAPI. Yeah, from FastAPI, I will import FastAPI. So I need to import FastAPI. Then what I need to do next is to create an instance of this FastAPI. So I will call it app is equals to FastAPI. Okay, so there are some arguments it can take, but it's not necessary now. I don't need it, so I'm not going to be passing them. So I've created an instance of this man now, FastAPI. To create an endpoint, now an endpoint, we are going to be creating what we call a HTTP request. Okay, I may not go in detail to start explaining HTTP request and how it works. All right, so but we have different HTTP requests. We have the post, we have the get, we have post, we have put, we have delete. Now, depending, each request has the behavior. Each request has a what? A behavior. The post request has its own behavior. The get request has its own behavior. So, but we are going to be using a post request. So you can try to read up on how to build REST APIs. How to build REST API, because FastAPI helps you to build a REST API. All right, so that's what we'll be doing here. To create this endpoint is very simple. To create an endpoint here, I will just add a decorator app. I'm using this instance that I've created here. I can say .post. I've created This is a decorator. Now, what I need to add here is the URL of that endpoint. So I can call it /chat. Okay. And then here I'm going to define a function. Now, FastAPI is asynchronous, so I must add async in front of each function. So I can call this function let's chat response. Let me just say chat response. So I can call it chat response. All right. Now, inside here now, there are a few things that I can pass here. But notwithstanding, let me just continue. Let me add pass here. So I have actually created an endpoint. This is an endpoint. All right. This is an endpoint. This is an endpoint. I've just created an endpoint. So this is just how an endpoint runs. I don't know if I was. This is just the basic. This is just the basic of what an endpoint is. All right. Now, if I want to send a response from this endpoint, now let's say someone made a request to this endpoint. If I want to send a response, you send it with the return function. So you say return, and you should be returning a dictionary because what it returns is a JSON file. All right. So I can say return. Let me just say details, and then let me just call it endpoint is working. All right, so I can go on and actually test this endpoint now, this little endpoint. So once I access this particular endpoint, I should get this as a return. Now, how do you run your FastAPI app? All right, you run it on the terminal. So I'm working on a visual. I'm working on um, an environment from Anaconda. So I'm going to run this from Anaconda prompt. So first of all, I need to navigate to the directory of this project. So this is my Anaconda prompt here. All right, so I need to navigate to this environment. So let me activate my visual environment. So, but you can actually run this with your Python environment. I'm running this with Anaconda prompt because the Python interpreter, the environment I'm using was from Anaconda prompt. So this is just why. This is where I have most of the packages installed. I don't want to start installation afresh. All right. Someone was saying that he or she that he doesn't understand. So that's what I'm trying to explain. That I'm running this on Anaconda. So this virtual environment is from Anaconda. So I'm running it on Anaconda prompt. So if I was running it with a base Python installation, I can run it on my terminal. All right. So, but I'm running on Anaconda. So what I need to do here is to run my app. So this is how you run your FastAPI app. There are many ways to run it. All right, but it runs with UVCon. So most times it's required that you use UVCon to run it. So how I use UVCon to run it is just say you say UVCon. The name of our file is main. I say main, and the app we created, this app in FastAPI is app. So I say main colon app. I've initialized this now. So I'm going to add one variable that will enable us to reload while it is running. So I add reload and I hit enter. So once it start running, All right. Once it start running, it's going to give us an endpoint which we can use to access that back end. So yeah, application startup. Application has already started up. So this is the endpoint 127.0.0.1 is the base URL of the backend that we just built now. So it is 0.0.1 because it is localhost. So on my browser, I can type localhost 127.0.0.1. This is one. Then two, for us to test what we are building, remember this thing are endpoint. So you can maybe do some testing on your browser, but it's not going to work very well on your browser because the browser most time does not take post request and all that. It's only get request. Then with some other things, one of the platform you can use to test is to go and test on Postman. But FastAPI comes what comes with a particular UI user interface that will enable you to test out your your endpoints. It's called the Swagger UI. All right, so I'm going to open up my browser now. All right, so that we can run this on the browser. So I'm going to run. I'm going to say this is the base URL 127.0.0.1, which is the same thing as localhost. But I'm going to use what we have here, which is 127.0.0.1. All right, which is localhost. All right, and then FastAPI is on port 8000. So I'm going to say 8000. Now to get this Swagger UI we are talking about, we are going to add a slash now and add dots. So if I run this now, it's going to open the Swagger UI. So this is just the Swagger UI. This is our app interface now. Now, what we created is just one endpoint, which we called chat response. You can see the name here, chat response. And the endpoint is, you are seeing slash chat here. This slash chat is what we added here. That is the endpoint. So to access this particular endpoint now, what what we'll be sending is something like the base URL, which is 127.0.0.1 slash chat. So this is just the request that will be sent out. So this is just a request that will be sent out, and then this particular endpoint will be accessed. Remember, this is the base URL and then this is the exact endpoint. So this is just basically how it works. I'm just giving this basic explanation so that we can understand. So if I check this now, I can drag down and there was no parameter because I didn't add any parameter. So let's try it out. Let's click try out. Try out is going to send a request to that endpoint. So let's try out and let's execute. So we executed and this is what we got. This is the response. We got 200, which means it was okay. This was the response. The endpoint is working, which was this exact request that we sent out here. This is just the most basic explanation that we can get from this, and I know that we understood it. So just as simple as that. So whatever we are doing, we are going to be adding it here. Now, we need to take input, right? We need to take input from here. When we want to execute, we need to add some parameters. So to add some parameters, one of the easiest way to do it is using your Pydantic model. The essence of Pydantic model is it does what we call data validation to be sure that it's the exact data that you are sending. All right, so to use the Pydantic, we are going to say from Pydantic import base model. So I'm going to import the base model from Pydantic, all right, and then we'll be creating a Pydantic model to take our request. Now remember, from when we tested our endpoint, what we need is the user query and the thread ID. These are the two things we need from the user. So our Pydantic model is going to be a class which is We can call it request. No, let me not. Yeah, I can call it request. I don't have anything. Okay, let me call it user request. User request, and it inherits from base model. All right. And here now, I'm going to be declaring two variables, which is the user query, the query from the user, which is a string, and then the thread ID, which is also a string. So these are just the two things I need to take from the user. Now, to make the user to send me this, I'm going to be picking a user request from here. And the user request I need to be a type of user request. All right, it needs to be a type of this. Now with this, now if I save this, all right, and I go back to my URL and I reload this now. Okay, let me be sure that it has started running. Oh, it hasn't started running yet. Okay, application startup complete, so it has started running now. So because I added reload, it's going to reload anytime I make some changes. All right, so let me now reload here. All right, so you now see that I have an input that I can add here, which is now the query and the thread ID, and they are editable. Do you understand now? I can send something from here now. Remember, initially I could not send, but now I can send something from here now. All right. So that is just it. That means I can get the user and input. So I can decide to add what we'll call, I can build another validation for response. All right. So I can build another one for response. So I can say class of AI response. So let me just call it AI response. So AI response, which we also inherit from the base model. So, and then it should be a type of, let me just call it response here. Or let me add AI there. AI response. All right. And it's still a string. So I will still want it to be a string. So now I need to now add it here. I said that response model is AI response. All right. So with this now, if I try to send what I have here now as a response, it's going to fail validation because the details I have here does not correspond with this. So anything I'm returning must correspond with this. So this is just what it means. So at this point now, we've built the skeleton. All right, we'll build the skeleton. So let us now import our chart. So from the 44 import chart. All right, we've imported the chart. So once we get a request from the user, so what we need to do is we already have the query and we have the thread ID. So we need to make requests from this chart. So the query, the query is the query is this user request dot query, and the thread ID is equals to user request dot thread ID. So that's cool. So we now need to make a request. We know that this function returns just a string to us. So we've done all the job here. All the work is done here. So all we need to do now is now say that the response, that's the response from our AI, is equals to chart. So it's a synchronous operation, chart, and we'll pass query. Query is equals to query. Thread ID. Thread ID is equals to thread ID. All right, that's all. And then what we need to return here now is to come down here and add AI message, AI response. Just ensure that it's same thing with this AI response, and we are sending in our response, and our response is response. Just as simple as that. So, and then we are done. We hit Control S. So we monitor to be sure that first of all it has shut down. So we wait till the app has started up from our terminal here. It's taking some time, but we're going to wait so that it starts up. All right, application startup complete. That means the app has started up. So we go back to our browser. So now let's reload. Let me reload the browser. You're going to see something. Let me. So you're going to see something. You see that we have a type of, this is one of the response. This is one of the schemas we have already, which should be returning a string. Do you understand? So let's leave this one. Let's come down to this particular endpoint. So um, this is the input that we can add to the endpoint. Do you understand? So now let's try it out. Let's try it out. So the query is, who are you? Just something basic. Who are you? And I'm going to add a thread ID. The thread ID should be 1234, something like that. So, and let's execute and see if we'll get a response. We already have a response. Oh, we had an error. Wow. Okay. Let's know where the error is coming from. Okay, it actually got a response. So let me see where the response is coming from. Okay, I have a missing type somewhere. So let me see. Okay. I've seen the error. This is the member variable we have from our class, which is the response model. Look at it, response. But look at what we have here. Response. So you see that there was an error here. I need to remove this A. So you see that it actually failed the validation. because it wasn't seeing the same data. All right, it actually failed the validation. So we can save and um, allow it to rerun. All right, application startup completed. So let's reload and try again. So who are you? And then let's pass our thread ID. Let's use same thread ID 1234. Let's execute now. Okay, and you see that we actually got a response. So this thing actually sent a dictionary type, which is a JSON file. So this JSON file now, when the front end man picks it, the front end man needs to access just this man, and then you'll be able to get this response. Just as simple as that. So there is something else that you can actually do. Let's go back to our code. Now, this type of validation error that we got now, to um, avoid it, we can actually create an instance of this class and then return it. So we can just say res is equals to response model, or AI response, sorry. Okay, I have it here. AI response, and then AI response is equals to response. And then down here, instead of saying let me comment this out completely so that you can have a feel of that later, I can just say return res. Just as simple as that. And then we are going to, you are sure that you are not having any validation error based on getting the actual name of the member variable. So this actually works better for some persons. So depending on what you are doing. So we wait for it to start up so that we actually test it and then see that we are correct. Once we are correct, we move on to the next step. So we're using this same query. So let's execute. All right, let's see what we have. You see that we got our response. All right, good and fine. So this is just the basic. We've created the endpoint. All right, we've created the endpoint, and this is just how it is working. So what is left now is how do we push this to the how do we push this now um, to the crowd? So that's what we are going to do now. So if you're actually enjoying this process, can you give us a thumbs up? I want to know that we are following what we are doing here before we continue. All right, good. All right, so this is what I'm going to do now. Okay, so to deploy this project, I'm going to create a folder here and call it deploy. Okay, I'm going to create a folder here and call it deploy, and inside this deploy folder I'm going to have two files, which is our main.py, and I'm going to also create the other file that we have, which is the 44.py. No, what I'm trying to do now might not work. I'm going to create a different path and navigate to it. So this will still be here. Let me open another instance of VS Code. So why I might have an issue here is because Git is already monitoring this entire repo. Okay, Git is already monitoring the entire repo. So let me create a folder. Okay, let me create it here. So, and the folder is here. All right, yeah, trust it. Go ahead, bro. So I'm going to create the first file, main.py. Then I can call the other file agent.py. All right. So what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to pack whatever we have here and have it on a fresh repo, which we are going to use for our deployment so that you can actually see how it works. All right. So I'm going to come to this. Let me close this, close this. Good. I'm going to come to this default file. I will copy everything I have here. Okay. And I will come to this agent.py. I will paste everything here. So let me zoom in. So I'm going to push everything here. I want to work with land graph. Yeah. So I'm going to push everything here, save it, and then I will come to this file now. I will go to main.py, pick everything I have here, and I will push them in main. Now, the two difference between these two files now is that it's no more the 44 here, it's now agent. So I'm going to replace it with agent. That's all. And I'll need to save this. So what I will need to do now is to stop our server from running where it is running there. Run this exact one that I created now. And I'm sure, once I'm sure it is working perfectly, then we are good to go. So I'm going to stop the server. So to stop this server now, you are going to press Ctrl C. Okay, once you press Ctrl C, the server will be stopped. So I'm going to press Ctrl C so that the server will stop. So we'll just wait for a while for it to stop. So, but while you're waiting, I can create another instance and try to run this without wasting much of our time. Let's see if this will shut down faster. Oh, it's taking time. So let me just set this one up. Okay, while you're waiting for this one, let me minimize it and we push from this. Okay, so this is set now. So to run it, remember what we said, uvcon main app reload. Okay, I will run this. So we just wait for it to start up. All right. And okay, I had some issues. Yeah, I need to add my environment variables. I didn't add them. So I need to add my environment variable. Just give me a little while. Let me add them, and then let me add my environment variable. So um, okay, I need to create a change here so that it can actually reload. Okay. All right. So let me see if it's reloading. All right. So it's reloading now. All right. App startup completed. We can just reload here, and it's going to reload the exact endpoint for us. We need to close this. This particular one is taking time to shut down. Don't need it to. Why is this? Why is this behaving this way now? So, guys, sorry about that. I needed to end this processes that made this system not to be executing. All right, so let's run our server now. UVcom main app reload. All right, so it's running. All right, so now let's reload now. Okay, very fast, and we'll have what we had before. So let's try this out to be sure it's working. Who are you? 2233. Just say random thread ID, and then we execute. Okay, we are good. It's working. Nice and good. That's okay. So the next thing we need to do now is to push this to GitHub. All right. So to push this to GitHub, first of all, we need to create a repo. So move over to github.com. So that's the first thing we need to do to deploy. We need to push to GitHub. We need to push. So we go to GitHub and create a new repo. All right. So the name will be deploy AI agent training. Deploy AI agent training. So this is just the name I want it to be. So there are two things you can do, either to make your repo private or public. So I can set to make this private. I can set to make it public. Now, if you are deploying your project, you need to make it private. All right. So when you make it public, that's why when I send you a link, you can actually see it on my repo. But when I make it a private, then you won't be able to see it on my repo. I have a couple of private repo on my repo, so projects that I've deployed. So you can comfortably make it private. All right. So I'm not adding anything here, both readme and whatever. I just create the repo. So I'm actually making it private now. So I can decide to make it public. We'll have the repo. So anyway, let me make it public. Let's continue since it's a project that we are doing together. So I'll make it public and I'll click create repo. So once it has created this repo, what I need to do is to now push on this repo. Do you understand? So that's what I need to do now. So first thing first, I go back to my code base. So I go back to my code base. I'm going to create a file here, .gitignore. So the work is any file that I don't want to add to GitHub, I'll add it here, which include my .env. My .env is one of them, and then this file cache, I don't want to add it, so I'll add it here. So I add it here. I don't want to add it to the repo, and I save it. All right. So I'm going to open my terminal. So if I open my terminal now, it's going to, this is just the it's going to be running whatever I have on. We'll have what we call your local Git. So first of all, anyway, I believe we know how to push to GitHub. So git init. So I initialize GitHub, and then I need to create a branch. So git branch. I'm creating a main branch. So it has created a branch. So the next thing I need to do is to add my remote repo. All right. So and I'm going to get the URL of my repo. So we have it here, git add origin. You add the URL of the repo. Let me copy it from here. So I run it, and um, okay, I made a mistake. Let me just copy it from here directly and run it directly. Okay, yeah, so I've added it now. So what I now need to start doing is to start adding my files. So I'm going to run git add to add all the files, and then I'll commit git commit. So I've committed this to the local repo. All right, I've committed it to the local repo, and then I need to push it to GitHub. So I need to now say git push origin main, and it's going to push all this to GitHub. Oh God, oh God. All right, so it has pushed all this to GitHub. So if I move back to GitHub now, I will refresh this page, and I have my file here. They are here already, so look at them, and look at this. So just as simple as that. So all I need to do now is now to move over to render.com. So I need to move over to render.com, go to my dashboard. So I think I'm logged in here. Let me be sure. Okay, yeah, I'm logged in already on render. I have a project that is running. So I'm going to create a new project. Oh, I can't create a new project. I can't create a new project. I'm on free version. So what do I do now? I'm coming. There is a way, there is a workaround. Okay, let me see if I can create a new workspace. Okay, yeah, I can create a new workspace. So let me go from there. Basically, um, when you come to render, okay, so what you need to do first of all is to create a workspace. All right, so this is just the render interface. So I have a project here that is running on free version. So I'm going to create a workspace, add the name of the workspace. So I can just call it deploy AI agent. Okay, and I will select the free I'll select the free plan. So I have limited resources, so I'll create the workspace. And now it's time to deploy my app. So you see that they have so many options here of what you can deploy: static websites, web services, private services, and others. So what I want to deploy is a web service. So I will select web service, and I'm supposed to select the repo that I want to deploy. All right, so I'm seeing all this because these are my GitHub has been linked with my render. So that's why I'm seeing all the repo in my
Yeah, we can hear you now. We stopped hearing from you.
I hear you now, but before now you could not.
When you started creating requirements.txt file.
Okay, during when I started to create requirement.txt.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry about that. I was using a mic, so I think it ran off. I forgot to charge just because I didn't know I would be taking the class. I would have gotten all these things ready. So, but we'll push from here now. All right. So I said that we're going to create a requirement file that will be telling our server everything that our app required to run. So that's what we are trying to create here. So we are adding the list of all the packages that we used in our work. We use LangChain LangGraph, LangChain OpenAI, Python.env. Then we needed FastAPI. So after FastAPI, we will need Pydantic. We will need the UVCon. We need UVCon and what else do we need? What else do we need? So I don't think there is any other thing that we need here now. So I think all the libraries are set. All right. Let me have a look at this. Okay. So all the libraries are set. So we are going to save this. And after saving, we are going to update our our code base that is on GitHub with what we had here now. So let me update it. So I need to push now. All right, the upload is completed. So let's check our repo. Let me refresh this. Okay, our requirements.txt is here. So let's get back to um, here and continue. So this name of the project, we can change the name if we want. Then we're working with Python. You can select the language you're working with here, but we're working with Python 3. So the branch, we now need to select the branch that we are deploying on GitHub. So in this repo now, we want to deploy the branch. That is the only branch here, which is the main branch. If you have multiple branch, you're going to select the exact branch you want to deploy. All right, so you can select where you want your server to be. I think this Asia is closer than the US. All right, so um, now if there is a particular directory where your main, this our main.py now. If it's another directory, you need to specify it here. All right, then This is the build command. This build command will be used to run this requirements.txt so that it can install all the packages that we need. Okay, and then here now is where we run our app. So this is the command that you can actually use to run the app. So port is port. So this is just the basic command. We are running uvcon main app. So this is just running the app now. And I want to run this with free version. So they're giving us just 512 MB of RAM. You see that it's relatively small. We're going to manage it because that is what we can actually afford right now. Okay, so we're going to manage this, and then once all these things are set, you are going to set your environment variables. So you need to set your environment variable. So what you need to do is to go down to your app. Okay, so go down to your app where you have the environment variables. First of all, you copy the actual name. So like ours is called OpenAI API key. So you copy the actual name and then copy the value that is associated with it. So ours is okay. I have something like that here. OpenAI API key, and then you can paste your API key here. So and then you paste your API key, and you are good. If I need to add more environment variables, I add them here. So and the next thing I need to do is to deploy web service. So I just click here and then it will start its work to deploy the service. So we give it some time so that it creates everything it needs to create. So this is a terminal where you'll be watching whatever that is happening on your app, just the same way we have this terminal here. So first of all, it's going to install Python on it's going to install Python on the this is what happened here is they are going to create this is our own computer now, which is on a Linux machine. So it's going to create a simple Linux app for us, and then we'll continue from there. All right. So it's installing uh, some of the packages that we'll need. So that's what is happening here. So we'll keep observing whatever that is happening on the terminal here. So build was successful. That means our app has deployed. So it's still going to give us right here that our app has deployed successfully. All right, so it has deployed this app. Now, where are we going to see this app that has been deployed? Look at the URL here. Look at the URL here. So we'll copy this URL. So this is the URL we can use to get our app. So when I add slash docs, so this URL I copied now is now our base URL. So slash docs will get us to the Swagger UI. All right, so look at our app. So our app was able to deploy successfully. Let's clap for ourselves now. It's not easy. Yes, that's good. So we've deployed our app and then it's working. So all we need now is to um, make our request to see exactly what we had on the local. That is what we had on the cloud. Okay, so try it out. So let's ask it a question. So how do I, okay, let me say, how do I run Python code on VS Code? And then our thread ID, let's use a random number and then let's run this. Not found. We had an error. We have an error. So we need to look at our error. Let me execute this again. Not found. So let's let's get back here. So let me go to logs. But this, we are actually not running a get request. This is a post request now. And it's seeing it as a get request. All right, so we've gotten our response. I don't know why it was seeing our request as a get request before. And that particular URL is not in our backend. So, and this is our response. All right, and this is our response. And our backend is working. Okay, look at the last response we did now. Look at the last request we did. It was successful. And this is our response. So with this now, we our service is running on the cloud. It's no more running on my machine like this. Running on the cloud now. So it's a bit fast, even though we have 512 MB of RAM, because that is just the only thing that is running there. So it wouldn't be slow like mine that is running a Windows machine that has a whole lot of things running on it. So we've come to the end of today's class and also to the end of the entire class that we are having. So
Excuse me, can I ask a question, please?
yes, go ahead.
Thank you. I missed the initial classes. Do we have any recording of
Yeah,
the previous classes?
yeah, there were video recording of the previous classes. So which I want to rally the videos and make all of them available for us so that everyone
Okay,
can actually go through them, both the code
okay.
base and everything. Yeah.
Thank you. And which particular model, LLM model, did we use? Because I missed previous classes, so I didn't know actually.
So I worked with OpenAI, though
Okay.
all someone gave us a link for free blog with some persons. I don't know if anybody have used it and is working for them because we need to spread the gospel so that other persons can keep using it.
Like, I posted a link like in the group the other time, but I have personally like use it and like it's working fine.
So I'll still post the link again, okay? So that still post it again today.
Oh, okay. So okay, so I'll post it in the WhatsApp group or maybe yeah.
All right, all right. So I think questions. So questions. Ginika, Soludo, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you very much. I want to find out that GitHub that you connected on your render. Is it compulsory? Connect your GitHub on
Yes,
render.
for you to yes, you must link your GitHub to render for you to be able to deploy projects.
That means people cannot like have multiple accounts. They will have to have multiple GitHub to
No,
use
you
it
can have
for free.
multiple render accounts. You keep linking them to the GitHub. I mean, you keep
Okay, it's
linking
not
them to the
restricted.
GitHub. Yeah, you cannot just link one render to one GitHub. No, you can have multiple render accounts and you keep linking.
Okay, thank you very much. So when deploying to the cloud, you must add your requirements.txt, right?
So that, yes, that is where you add all the installations that need to happen.
Okay, okay, thank you very much.
All right. Do we have more questions?
Mine wouldn't be necessarily like a question. I would want to compliment you and the whole team, especially you. I really appreciate how you deliver. I like how you explain things, and I thank you and your team for bringing this like initiative. For trying to demystify the fog in like putting these pieces together. So I want to say like kudos to you, and I'm like keep it up. And I will connect and try to seek for advice and guidance whenever we need them. So thank you very much for bringing your energy. We felt it, and thank you.
All
I
right.
really appreciate it. Thank
You're welcome. Thank you very much for that. So appreciate us more by reacting on the social media posts. All right, thank you, Dan. So, Gini Kachuku Soludo, do you still have question? Your hand has been up.
Oh, sorry, please, sorry, my
Okay.
mistake.
So you guys should get your questions so that because we are rounding up now. Ramsey, no questions. No question from Kenya.
Yes, sir.
All right, all right. So Victor, your question.
Okay, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening, boss, for arranging this wonderful class. It's so informative and I like it. Thank you so much. Like, I want to know after this boot camp, do we have other programs to follow up this training? Like, do we have a project, another project we can work on, like, so that we can solidify the knowledge we've gained in the past few days? Is there any follow-up projects?
All right. There are a lot of projects that you can actually build if you want to start maybe building. At least we've learned how to deploy on the cloud. So learn how to actually build this one. You can even build the rack system as well and then deploy it on the cloud to see how it works. Work with real-time databases where you store your data. You can build a chatbot using Streamlit as the user interface, add memory to it, add chat history. These are different ways that you can use to be building up your skill. Then what else I'm going to do is just like I promised, I will organize some resources for continuous learning and then which I will be sharing with us.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Felix. Please, I want to confirm.
Okay,
So,
thank you so much.
can we still use render to deploy if we encompass Streamlit as the user interface, a better one, and
You can deploy the back end on render and then be making the API calls on Streamlit to access them. If you still wish, you can still deploy the Streamlit project as a front end app while you are you have your back end, you have your front end, and that's a full stack.
thank you.
All right.
Thank you for your time. Thank you very much.
All right, you're welcome. So we shall be calling it a day today. Um I want to appreciate each and every one of us for making it a point of duty to be here with us today. It's not easy. So, and for making our time to also participate in this training. You know, one thing is if you actually call for training and then people participated because you won't be able to go and start teaching yourself. Yeah, so it's a good thing that people participated in a training that you called for. So I appreciate all of you. So we'll continue the whole process back in the group chat for those that want to learn further. So just like I said, I'm going to rally the videos together. Okay, so and we could not record the video directly um, on Meet. Okay, so even though we tried to purchase Google One, but after purchasing Google One, it couldn't work because it still had limited offer. So and we couldn't migrate to Workspace currently now. So that's why. So I'll round up the videos and then get ready, and then all of us will have access to it. So thank you very much for the class. We'll continue whatever we have on the group chat, both the mentorship, the guidance, and everything there. We'll still have a long way to go, guys. Thank you for this one. We'll have more coming your way. So there is more where this one came from. So more will come. All right. So have a nice day.